Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kordewada. In this video, we will create our project and we will add all the dependencies which we require for our application, and we will see how they are working, and then we will be starting with our module implementations. So now let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code and create our project along with the dependencies. So let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code. Here I have created a branch called as user nodes management, and in this I'll mainly target for modular approach. So we will be going with a modular approach with all the views, and in middle if we require any standalone components which has unique features, then we will be creating the standalone components. So for this I have created this application already by running a command called as ng new, and the project name, you can give the project name along with routing if you want to have routing, and if you want to have a project only with the standalone, use -- standalone. So whatever the projects you are creating in the future, that will be created as a standalone. So that's about the project creation. I am not creating the project again, and I have created a branch user nodes management. Whole our application code will be managed in this particular GitHub. Now in this particular GitHub branch, now what I want to do is I want to add whatever the dependencies we want. In my previous video I have explained what are the dependencies we have. The dependencies whatever we are using is Angular material, and for HTTP calls we are using mock APIs, and for CSS utilities we are using Bootstrap CSS. Now let me add our Angular material and we'll test one component where we are able to access Angular material components or not. So let me quickly jump into the browser and go into our Angular material. If you see here, we are using Angular material with 16.2.10, and if you go to our package JSON, we are using an Angular where it is 16. If you want to go with 16.2.10, there will be no big changes. That's why I'm using 16.2.10, which is the latest of Angular material. And let me quickly jump into the get started part. Okay, so here they have given a command where we can install or add this particular library into our application. So I can use ng add. Let me copy this and put it over here. So it will add our Angular material to the project, and you can select any of this like indigo, pink, purple, whatever the theme you want. I'll go with indigo pink. And if you want to have a typography globally or not, I don't want global typography, so let me use N and hit enter. Include and enable animations. If you want to have animations, you can have animations as well. So what I will do is I'll give include enable animations. Now it will take a minute to install this particular package. So it has installed the packages and it have updated some set of files. So let's see what it has updated. So let me go into Angular JSON. In the Angular JSON, it has added a styles. Whatever the theme we have selected, the CSS which is related to that theme has been added in our styles of Angular JSON. So this is the first change, and the second change is package JSON. It has added the CDK part and Angular material part. So we can use CDK libraries as well, which are provided by Angular, and also material, the components or the UI utilities we can use from this material. And let me go into index.html. If you see the index.html, it has added some set of fonts and also Google APIs for your robotics and material icons. So it has added the font family related stuff, and it has added the fonts. It has added also material icons. So you can use the material icons from this. And let me go into styles.css. So it has added some set of properties like HTML body. It is taking a body of height 100%, and by default all the font families are Roboto, and this is the font family which is the default given by Angular material. And if you see the app module, we have browser animation module and browser animation module which is imported in our imports section. So that's the changes given by this ng add @angular/material. So we are done with the Angular material installation. So let's see whether we are able to access this particular components or not. So if you see here, whenever you want to access any of the Angular material component, that particular module has to be included in your particular module. For example, in this case, let me check that in our app component. Why? Because we don't have any other modules as of now. So let me go into app module. and let me minimize this. Now inside this app module, what I'll do is I'll add one particular module. For example, if I add this import module, let's see whether we can use this mat toggle button, that is mat slide toggle, in our application or not. So let me copy this and inject in our module so that it will have an access to use this particular slide toggle module. So let me go into app.component.html, and if you see here, let me add inside this. So just for testing purpose, I am adding this. Let me copy this and put it over here, and let me make it as test me and save this. Let me go to the terminal again and just run this application. So npm or ngserve, you can use npm run start or ngserve. So I'm using ngserve over here. It has compiled successfully. Let me go to the localhost and reload. You can see here the toggle has enabled, and the theme whatever we have selected is pink. So that's why it is showing all the colors in the pink format. So let me reset to 100, and this is the one. Yep, we are able to access this toggle. Let me show you one more example. So for example, let me go into the components. Here we have lot of components which are given by Angular material. In that, let me go into the button, so that this is very useful for us always. So let me go here, and you can see the code over here. You can see an examples with the CSS, whatever he is adding, everything we can see over here. Just we need to know how to utilize them. For example, in this case, I'll use button raised with a primary. So button with a mat raised button. So this mat raised button is equivalent to the directive which we are adding for our button, so that it will add extra features to this button, and we are passing a property called as primary. Primary always indicates the blue color. Let me save this. But if you go to the browser and you are able to see normal primary button, why? Let's go to the console. There is no error, but what you are seeing is normal button. It is not the material button. Why? Because you have used this mat raised button, but that particular module has not been imported by your Angular project. Let me go into the API. If you see this is importing part. So let me copy this importing part and go to your app module, import in your app module, and inject this particular button module in our button module. Let me save this and go here. Let me go to the browser, and you can see the primary. So this module, each and every component will have a particular module that has to be injected in your respective modules to use it. So that is what I want to mention here. And the modules, if you are not including and if you are trying to use, that will not act in a proper fashion. So let me go here, and we are done with the Angular material part. Now what I want to do is I want to use Bootstrap CSS. So for using Bootstrap CSS, just I'll go into the Bootstrap 5 and just I'll copy this CDN. Let me copy this CDN and go to your index.html. Let me go into index.html. Let me minimize this and let me add that over here. Save this and just format. So save this. I have added a CDN of Bootstrap 5 so that we can use Bootstrap 5 classes. So let me check whether they are working fine or not. Let me go to the app.component.html, and we can use anything from that Bootstrap CSS. So for that sake, to understand whether we have injected properly or not, what I'll do is I'll just go into our components or any of the input fields you can use, but as of now we want only the utility part. So for that sake, what I'll do is I'll create one div, and for this div I want to give some set of margin. So let me format this and let me go here, class, and let me give margin of 2 and save this. Go here, you can see the margin 2 should be applied. You can see here margin 2 has been applied with 0.5 rem. Okay, let me make it as something like 3 and save this, and you can see 3 has been applied and it has applied 1 rem, that is 16 pixel it has been added. That means these are the utilities which are provided by Bootstrap. Hence we are able to use them in our application. So that's about your injecting of Bootstrap and Angular material. And coming to the mock API, whenever we are interacting with the HTTP calls, then we will talk about these mock APIs. So let me go back. Now we are ready for our application to use Angular Material and Angular Bootstrap. Now we are ready to use Angular Material and Bootstrap CSS. So now what I want to do is, here we have one problem. For example, we have an app module. So app module is injected with all these material modules. But what I want to do is, I don't want to use these modules or every custom modules. For example, in the future we will be creating a register module, login module, n number of modules. So it depends on you how you want to utilize. But in this case, what I want to do is, I want to create a shared module, and that shared module I'll inject wherever I want to use, and that shared module will be your material module. For example, let me go here and create one shared module. Where I want to create is, I want to go inside our app module, cd space src app, and inside this app I want to make a directory, and the directory is common directory, and let me go into the common directory. So inside this common directory I want to create a modules, that is nothing but mkdir modules. So all my modules which are common modules I'll include over here. So let me create ng generate module, or let me create one more directory where I want to mention it as material module. Let me go into common, and here we got modules. So this should be moved inside this. Let me move it. And now inside the material I want to create a module that is nothing but a shared module. ng generate module, and the module is material module without routing file. Let me hit enter. So now it created a module for us inside this common, and let me move it to this and move. Okay, so now you can see we have common, and inside the common modules inside the material, so we have this, but I don't want to do this. Let me move only into this. Yep. So let me delete this. There are duplicated material modules here. So I created only one material module. Let me go into the material module, and all the required material modules I'll add inside this material module. Okay, material module. Now what I want to do here is, let me inject all the required modules over here. So for example, we have app module, and inside this app module, these are something related to the material module. Let me cut this and put it over here, and just go and cut this and put it over imports. But whatever the modules you are using only in the imports, that will be restricted to this particular module. If you use this module somewhere else, you cannot use this imported values or imported modules in other module. If you want to use them in other module, then we have to use another property called as exports. So inside the exports also, just I'll try to add this into here and save this. Now this will have two things. One is imported, that means we can use inside this module, and one is exports, where we can use inside this particular module. Along with that, we can use in other module as well. So now I have created a material module, and what I'll do is, I'll inject this material module inside our app module. Let me go into app module and inject this material module. So I have created a material module inside our material folder, and now this material module has mat slide toggle module, mat button module. So they should work as usual. Just I am making a separation of this module. Let me go here and refresh. It is able to show you the toggle and the primary button. Now let me remove this module. For example, let me save this, and you can see mat slide toggle is not an element. That means it is not able to find this element because it is related to our material module itself. So that's why, let me uncomment this and save this. You can see that particular module. That means whenever you want to use all the material modules, that can be imported and exported in this module. Wherever you want to use this material module, you can inject them so that it will be reusable and no need to specify every time where we want to use it. So that's how you can use material module. And also let's create one more module here inside the modules. So let me open the terminal and let me go out and use ls. So you can see this as a common. Inside the common, I'll go inside the modules, cd space modules, cd space common, cd space modules. So I went inside the modules. Let me hit ls. So you can see material module folder. Let me create ng generate module, and the name is predefined module, I don't want to create any routing, and hit enter. So now it created modules, and inside the module we don't have predefined. Let me put this inside our module. Inside the common we have modules. Inside the module we have material and predefined module. So predefined module, what is meant by predefined module? For example, in each and every module, whenever we are using HTTP, we want HTTP client module, and if you want to use reactive forms or forms module, we need that forms module and reactive forms module. Such predefined or Angular created modules can be imported and exported from this module. So instead of importing every time in each and every module, what we can do is we can import this predefined module wherever we want. For example, here we may need a forms module, which is very important for us. So forms module, and let me use reactive forms module. So these are two things, and also we have something called as HTTP client module. So let me go and import manually from @angular/common/HTTP, and let me use HTTP client module. So this module is also commonly used in all our custom modules or user defined modules in the future. So I'm importing them. All these imports I'll just try to export as well, so that we can use them in other modules just by importing this predefined module. Let me copy this and put it over here. Save this. Now, if your app module need this predefined module, you can just inject that predefined module. So if you want to have predefined modules, you can add predefined module. If you want material module, you can add material module, so that whatever the interdependent modules inside that will be accessible in our user defined modules. So this is a basic setup where we have segregated our material related stuff and predefined stuff into a separate modules, and we can use them. So that's a brief introduction about how to create and how to set up, or what are the required setups we want for our project. So we are done with the setup. In the upcoming video, we will see about registration module, and we will be creating our self components, and we will be designing our registration part, and we will store the data in our mock APIs as well, along with the validations. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.